and I want to make as much money as I possibly can. And there's nothing wrong with making money, there's nothing wrong with being successful, there's nothing wrong with paying your bills. God knows we need to pay our bills. But if that's all you're doing, you're missing the point. That's what the gospel is saying. Okay, 14, 12 to 14.
Then Jesus said to his hosts, "When you give a lunch or a dinner, do not invite your friends or your brothers or your relatives or your rich neighbors, for they will invite you back, and in this way you will be paid for what you did. When you give a feast, invite the poor, the crippled, the lame, and the blind, and you will be blessed because they are not able to pay you back. God will repay you on the day the good people rise from death."
Are you kidding me? Yo, I'm trying to barbecue something and I can't invite my family, Jesus is saying? What?
That reminds me of the Murphys and the retreat.
We're the blind and the lame.
And we can never pay back.
Do you see the thing? Yes. Jesus is trying to break us out of this mentality that we're just looking at ourselves and we think we're good. What's wrong with inviting your family to a barbecue? There's nothing wrong with that. But are we inviting the blind, the poor, the lame as well? Do we make provision for them? And I'm not saying that you have to have a blind man or a homeless man at your dinner table every night. I am saying, do you make provision for them? When people will come to the door, they'll say, "Yo, I'm hungry, I'm hungry." And like, okay, you know, like, I'll give you some food. When I meet homeless on the street, I go up to them and I say, "How you doing?" "Oh man, I'm hungry." I say, "Well, why don't you come to our door?" We make provision for them. I don't have to feel guilty about not being able to help them right then and there, but there's provision for them. Maybe there's some sort of app, I don't know, that like, "Hey, look, oh bro, you hungry?" Like, "Well, here, there's this app that, you know, there's this food pantry over here. Did you know about that?" I don't know if that exists, by the way.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
That'll be some good business.
I'm gonna put you through my job.
Make it so, lady, go.
That'll be good business.
Make it so.
Okay, 15 to 24.
One of his fellow guests, hearing this, said to him, "Blessed is the one who will dine in the kingdom of God." He replied to him, "A man had a great dinner to which he invited many. When the time for the dinner came, he dispatched his servant to say to those invited, Come, everything is now ready." But one by one, they all began to excuse themselves. The first one said to him, "I have purchased a field and must go to examine it. I ask you, consider me excused." And another said, "I have purchased 5 yokes of oxen, and am on my way to evaluate them."
Pause. What? Has anyone ever heard this parable? Yeah. What else happens?
He goes and he invites all the poor people from the village to go.
All the people he invited, what happened to them? Oh, yo, man, I just bought this brand new car and I just want to look at it right now. Right? So I can't. I'm gonna, you know, I'll get you back. You know, I just bought this new house. And you know, like we're decorating and stuff, we're painting. My wife was just like, you know. So I'll get you next time, God. I'll get you next time. Whatever. Fill in the blank. Always making excuses because of our things. And what does the king say? Esto desgraciado. And he goes to go to the highways and the byways. Go to the South Bronx, go to Patterson, and invite the people, bring them up from the street, right? And what do?
They come.
Yo, I bet you they were like, yo! That's what happened in Honduras. Every time we would give food, people they wouldn't eat it, they would take it. Okay? But then there's a twister at the very end.
Still more room.
Sorry?
There's still more room.
There's still more room.
And then someone doesn't come dressed appropriately.
Keep on. There's always more. So the reward of exhibiting this agape love to the poor results in, big word here, the eschatological reward of salvation and doing the will of God. So serving the poor has a connection to the coming of the Lord. Eschatology means the things that are going to happen at the end, when Jesus comes back. And so he's going to come, he's going to be seen like, were you making excuses? Or were you one of the heralds bringing the poor in? Or were you the poor coming in? Whatever it is, that this has connection to what's going to happen to our salvation. Okay. 16, 1 through 15.
Yes. Jesus said to his disciples, there was once a rich man who had a servant who managed his property. The rich man was told that the manager was wasting his master's money. So he called him in and said, what is this I hear about you? Turn in a complete account of your handling of my property, because you cannot be my manager any longer. The servant said to himself, my master is going to dismiss me from my job. What shall I do? I am not strong enough to dig ditches, and I am ashamed to beg. Now I know what I will do. Then when my job is gone, I shall have friends who will welcome me in their homes. So he called in all the people who were in debt to his master. He asked the first one, how much do you owe my master? 100 barrels of olive oil, he answered. Here is your account, the manager told him. Sit down and write 50. Then he asked another one, and you, how much do you owe? 1,000 bushels of wheat, he answered. Here is your account, the manager told him. Write 800. As a result, the manager of this dishonest manager praised him for doing such a thing. Because the people of this world are much more shrewd in handling their affairs than the people who belong to the light. And Jesus went on to say, and so I tell you, make friends for yourselves with worldly wealth, so that when it gives out, you will be welcome in the eternal home. Whoever is faithful in small matters will be faithful in large ones. Whoever is dishonest in small matters will be dishonest in large ones. If then you have not been faithful in handling worldly wealth, how can you be trusted with true wealth? And if you have not been faithful with what belongs to someone else, who will give you what belongs to you? No servant can be the slave of two masters. Such a slave will hate one and love the other, or will be loyal to one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and money.
What? What? Really? Oye, eso que está pasando aquí? I'm like, and we're going to finish up with this. What is Jesus saying here? So you had a guy who was a bad steward. Él era malo. He knew he was going to get despachado. And he started saying, oh my gosh, let me start making some friends. Hey, don't worry about it. What, you got 100? Yeah, write 50, write 50. No, don't worry about it. No, it's okay, it's okay. What do you got? What do you got? No. Here, let me fix that real quick. And Jesus praises him. Make friends with worldly wealth. What is that line? Where does he say that?
For yourselves worldly wealth, so that when it gets out, you will be welcomed to the eternal home.
Anybody want to take a shot at that?
It's like when, how can I say? It's like when you want to be in other people's eyes good. Like you want to be known as a good person. You want to be known as someone who's giving and someone, because there's going to be a time where you're going to be in need. And if you were a messed up person, you didn't care about others, then they're just gonna turn their backs on you. They're not gonna care less about you.
Okay, that's true. Back to the common good, but well, we have to move on to the next lesson. So I'm just gonna kind of like just cut to the chase. Remember we mentioned the movie Les Miserables. Les Miserables. Les Miserables. Okay, a convicted felon who was convicted because he stole a piece of bread because he was hungry, so technically he didn't steal, right? He was in jail for yo no sé cuánto. He came out and like this bishop gave him a place to stay. You guys know the story? You don't know the story? Okay, so then he had like a temptation. He was like, oh, this bishop, he treated me so nice. Yo, but he got silver right there. No, man, that's like, you know what I'm gonna do with that? Everyone thinks I'm a prisoner anyway. I'm a criminal anyway. Took it, stole it from the bishop, took off, got caught. The policeman brought him back to the bishop and said, we found this guy who stole your silver. And what does the bishop do?
I gave it to him.
The bishop says, friend, you forgot something. Here, you forgot this silverware with the candlesticks. Here, you forgot that. No, he's my friend. No, I gave it to him. And what happened is that this man had an incredible conversion because the bishop did that. Not only did he have his freedom, but he also had a profound conversion. He went out, he became a businessman, he helped all these people, and he was like super, super charitable, an awesome Christian. Anyway, it's a great movie, you gotta watch it. I love that. It's really good. It's like...
It's pretty good, yeah.
You see some deep levels. Okay, so that's how I would explain that gospel. The bishop had wisdom on a deeper level. You can easily argue, and the Pharisees did, is like, well, what he did was wrong because he was like lying and stuff, right? Jesus is saying that there is a greater good that's over and above just your material rules. And that movie, Les Miserables, they wanted to throw him back because they were following the law and they forgot the person that the law was meant to protect. So this is what happens when we're looking for money. Like one of the homeless ladies told me in the Jesus run. She said, you know, if all we did, if people just gave 1% of their time, there would be no homeless. If they gave 1% of their wealth, there would be no hunger. And I was like, that's wisdom. That's true. Okay, so we're not going to get a chance to do it, but Luke says how Jesus talked about this. Acts shows how it began to get lived. So for your reading pleasure, Luke 16, 19 through 31, which is super big, rich man and Lazarus. 16, 19 through 31. 19, 1 through 10, signs of conversion. A man was converted, and the way you knew he was converted is that he gave to the poor. That was a sign of his conversion. He gave to the poor. Okay, now in the book of Acts, and this is the last thing I'm going to say. Chapter 2, verses 44 and 45. Chapter 4, verse 32 through 37. Chapter 6, verse 1. Chapter 10, verse 2. Chapter 11, 27 through 30. Chapter 9, 36 through 39. And chapter 20, verse 35. That's the book of Acts. All in the book of Acts talks about the connections between people who took care of the poor, people who were poor, people who were converted. people who gave their money to the poor. It's basically how it started getting lived in history, in reality. Amen, amen?
Amen.
Okay.